Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Matt, and you reached King Tridents Tribe. Hello, Tribe. How's the Good Vibes Soul Tribe doing? It's an awesome day. Today, I want to start a new series talking about toxic behaviors and mentality. This will be a series. We'll talk about different things. Today, we're going to talk about victim mentality. This is something that we need to discuss. Not saying everybody has a victim mentality, but those that do and they want to help themselves, the first part of it is taking responsibility, and that's the same thing with any sort of thing that you're trying to heal. But today we're going to talk about that, and I'm also not going to go into any intro. We're just going to jump right into this message. So let's talk about it. So as I mentioned, today I want to discuss my first episode of this series in reference to toxic mentality and behaviors. Victim mentality. Victim mentality is what we're talking about today. So toxic mentality and behaviors applies to all labels, no matter if you're a twin flame, light worker, it doesn't matter. You are a human either way, and you will come across, even if you don't have a victim mentality, you will come across people that have a victim mentality. It's very important for us to recognize that, not because we want to, not for any negative purpose, but it's good for your own awareness. And I'm going to go into detail why that is. So you'll most likely, if you're on the twin flame journey, you'll most likely be able to relate to this topic because a lot of DMs have to overcome this toxicity. And I think this is like, when people talk about toxic masculinity, this is one of the traits that, gets described underneath that. We're all capable of toxicity, but it comes down to personal choice and being able to look at yourself in the mirror and take personal responsibility. So in life, we're all given situations which require us to make a choice or a decision. The decision that you make can put you on a path, and possibly a path that you might wish you didn't explore. Your choice can also sometimes affect others. That's what I call the fallout. So this is why I call it the fallout, because it's like a nuclear reactor that's having a meltdown. It directly affects the reactor because the reactor is melting down. However, it also affects the surrounding area for miles and for years. Look at Chernobyl. If you don't know what Chernobyl is, Google it. That area is still affected by Chernobyl. There are also times that others make decisions for you. An example, if you have a job and your boss gives you a task that isn't very desirable, your boss provided you a task. That was the decision that was made for you. However, even in this situation, you have a choice. You can talk to your boss and try to negotiate a different solution. You can tell your boss that you're not doing it, or you can just resign. This is just an example of how you can be presented with a decision from someone else. But you still have several choices which will directly affect you. Let's just say you decide to tell your boss that you're not doing the task, and your boss fires you. Healthy mentality and behavior would be to take responsibility for your choice and learn from your choice, from your decision. But a person with victim mentality doesn't take responsibility because personal responsibility is something that is not part of the vocabulary. Instead, a person with victim mentality will talk trash about their boss and coworkers, and they will deflect blame onto everyone else as why they were fired. This is not only toxic to this person, but it's also toxic to those that are around this person. Now you can see why I said that this is important for us to recognize. This was just a couple of examples of how we're presented choices and how our choice can lead to several paths in life. If you pay close attention, then you can see this type of mentality exhibited daily. You see it all the time, especially if you watch the news. Now, I don't watch the news, but if you watch the news, you can see that, and I'm sure that even in your day-to-day life, in your job and other places, you can see this, and maybe you recognize it, maybe you don't, and hopefully this helps you recognize it. A person that always deflects their poor choices onto others will continue until they choose to stop living in the self-created lie. Basically, it's all a mirage. Lying is part of being the victim. Not only do they lie to themselves, but others. Yeah, and they become very good at it, like where they end up believing their own lies. It just becomes their norm. It's very scary, to be honest, but it's easy, if you don't recognize it, to get tangled up in these web of lies. When one lie is told, then other lies have to be fabricated to continue the story narrative. What is scary about a person with victim mentality is they also have no boundaries. And when I'm talking about boundaries, I'm not just talking about personal boundaries within themselves. I'm talking about external boundaries too, when it comes to affecting others. There's no compassion, there's no empathy. It's a selfish way to go about things, and they only care about how it benefits them in the end. So as I mentioned, they have no boundaries, meaning they can harm others around them, and they will just be the victim and blame those that they hurt without any remorse or apology. So I want to bring awareness to this topic, not to demonize anyone. I share every message with love, no matter what. However, there is some topics, that are not my favorite topics to talk about, because they are difficult topics, but there are topics that we have to be aware of, especially if you are a light worker or a twin flame, because if you're a twin flame, most likely, like a lot of times, I'm not saying every DM does, but a lot of DMs, they do. They exhibit this type of behavior, like whenever they run block and ghost, and then they blame the DF for their own pain, but really their pain is from themselves. That's a victim mentality. So I don't want to demonize anyone, but hopefully educate you and let you know this is why it's important to take what someone says with a grain of salt, and show the importance of watching a person's behaviors and concentrating on their energy. Because, as I mentioned many times, energy and behaviors never lie. I also want to hopefully bring a bit of awareness to those that play the victim. This is personal choice, having this type of mentality. Just as any mentality, you have choices, and you can either do what's right and take responsibility no matter how bad a situation is, or you can deflect and blame others. You are only the victim of your own decisions or choices. Nobody made those choices and decisions for you. You made a personal choice and decision out of free will. And you know, blaming others, that's a very toxic mentality. So if you want to move away from this toxic behavior, then start with looking yourself in the mirror and taking responsibility for your choices. And make a pact with yourself to always be true to yourself and others. It is also important to apologize. And whenever I say apologize, I mean apologize to yourself and those that you affected. And the apology shouldn't be something like just I'm sorry. That doesn't fix it. You know, it should contain some meat to it, meaning what you're sorry for. Understanding how you hurt or affected others, and what you're going to do to ensure you break these patterns and behaviors to never do it again. So I'd like to point out that we can learn almost all lessons of life from nature. Almost every lesson I've learned from nature. An example, nature takes responsibility for anything it does. We might not like certain outcomes, but it's nature's decision. Natural disasters are a part of nature. If a river decides to cut a new path, then it's nature's decision to go in a different direction. This is the same for us. We can do the same thing. We can go on a different path. That's our choice. But we must take responsibility for our choices and not blame others. So take ownership and responsibility for your choices. And when you do that, then not only do you maintain your integrity, but everyone will have respect for you. Even if they don't agree with your decision, they will have respect for you. If you encounter a person with victim mentality, then first you need to recognize that this person has victim mentality. Just like the Maya Angelou quote says, when a person tells you who they are, believe them. And next, you should do what's within your highest good. Listen to your intuition and do what's in your highest good. Keep moving. And I don't recommend that you attempt to change them. You can't change someone that don't want to be changed, you know. They have to take part in their own rescue. But don't attempt to change them, because you will most likely find yourself in a web of lies and can become their scapegoat. Basically, you're just another person that they can maintain their victim mentality. Also, they don't see themselves as needing help, but think everyone else around them needs help. This is why I recommend moving on. Just keep moving. It's important that we always protect our time and energy. If you have any questions about this topic, then post them in the comments. Also, I might talk about this subject in my next live event. If you think this is a good idea, this is something you would like to discuss in my next live event. I think my next live event is Sunday, April 16th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. If you would like to talk about this or something along these lines, then put it in the comments. And if this video was helpful, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And keep in mind, it's important to treat everyone with the same respect you want to be treated with, but it's also important that you make choices that show that you respect yourself. And with that, you guys, I send you much healing, love, and light. And just remember, the 3 most important things in life is peace, love, and happiness. I'll see you next time.